Now, now we come to the second session of the day, which is a prepared speech. And we have a fiery, energetic speaker who's going to knock us all with her confidence and words. So hold on to your hats. The speaker for the day is Toastmaster Anjana Mariam Koshi. To evaluate her speech, we have Toastmaster Viljo Wilson. A person with a kind face and a soft voice, which can fool you into thinking that he's a scared kitten. But when it comes to public speaking, he's a roaring lion. I always try my best to be there when he's giving a prepared speech, because I wouldn't definitely want to miss his display of confidence, boldness, and such command over language. For him, sleeping late night is something normal to him, which apparently people around him cannot understand. Now, I used to be someone who used to sleep in the morning at one stage. So yes, I can definitely understand. I invite Toastmaster Viljo to explain the project objectives. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, for that wonderful, elated introduction. Now coming back to the speech, the speaker for the day, Toastmaster Anjana Koshi, will be delivering her second elective from level 3 of her path, which is motivational strategies. The purpose of this project is for the speaker to develop and practice personal strategy for building connections through networking. Through this speech, Toastmaster Anjana will share some aspect of her experience in networking. Time allotted for the speech is 5 to 7 minutes. I wish Toastmaster Anjana all the very best.
Thank you, Toastmaster Viljo. Our speaker for the day is Toastmaster Anjana Mariam Koshi. Now, I see Toastmaster Anjana and Toastmaster Viljo as the deadliest speakers in the club. They both radiate such power and confidence like two extremely genius villains in a movie. Now, Toastmaster Anjana is a relatively new member compared to Toastmaster Viljo, but the impact she has made during such short period is nothing but resounding. When I asked what she felt normal, others didn't, she told me how she was less scared of COVID. She could see people roaming around. Some are infected, some are not infected. Those infected recover from the same and continue to enjoy. While being careful and respecting the ongoing pandemic, her normal is to walk around freely when compared what might seem too much of a worry by other people, which is something which I am facing every day at my home. Whenever I step out of my home, except for the purpose of going to the office, my mom is like, during this COVID time, you had to go out. So I'm like, whatever. So I invite Toastmaster Anjana for a prepared speech titled Art of Networking. Art of Networking, Toastmaster Anjana.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. The art of networking. Let me start with an African proverb. If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go with others. Toastmaster of the Day, fellow Toastmasters. My aim of selecting this elective project on networking was because I was clueless as to what it was. I led a quiet, peaceful family life with my children till some years back. I never heard anyone talking about networking. My education had never focused on the importance of networking, just as none taught me about finance management or banking or loans. I wondered, is it normal to live on without knowing what this buzzword of the era is? I researched and found that learning how to go with others, connecting people with people with ideas, and people with opportunities is the art of networking. It is about forming trust and helping one another towards their goals. To build such relationships, we need to regularly engage our contacts and expand our relationship bank. And this can open doors to new opportunities for business, career advancement, personal growth, or simply new knowledge. My project wanted me to think about networking events I have been a part of. I felt I have never attended any, and so I browsed more about the topic. Google said that it doesn't have to be a professional corporate event. It could be a wedding or a birthday function, a church event, or any job training sessions that I have been a part of. I was relieved. I'm in a plethora of networking events. I'm in Toastmasters Club, in a church choir group, my school and college alumni groups, family groups with 100+ members, a charity group called Srodhas. But sad to say, I know that I have not networked well enough all my life. Maybe you haven't too. Let's take the case of Heritage WhatsApp group. Is it an active group? Do we spend 2 to 3 minutes of our 24 hours to inquire what's happening in our club members' lives? Is anyone ready to open up? No. And that's because maybe we are not interested in anybody's life. Or we say the excuse, we don't have time. Or we don't know that networking is important to be successful in lives. I started digging my past life stories to see if I have networked. I remembered how I took the effort to collect contact details of my relatives in Dubai when I landed here for the first time after my marriage. I called them up and they were all happy that I took the time to ping them. Today, I have a job because of one of the conversations that I had with a second cousin of mine years back. How will anyone know that you are longing for a job unless you network? I jumped from one school to another with better offers through a network of friends that I maintained. And when you connect, dear Toastmasters, don't just keep contact with people who are in a high position. Be kind and gentle to everyone around. Text through one of my conversations with a security guy that I realized my dream to learn swimming. He arranged one of his lady friends to give me swimming lessons. Through a Srodhas charity group get-together that I was motivated by my friends to dance and sing on stages. Networking could also you being a part of all workshops or professional development course that your company provides. Once I was seen as a part of all that my school offered, I became a familiar face. The owner of my group of schools noted me, and we had a 1.5 hour long discussion last month. He noticed that I might be having the potential to reach greater heights in the coming future. So dear Toastmasters, networking has changed my thought process. It has given me more ambitions and goals and to drive my life in a different route. Dear Toastmasters, my life stories showed you how networking helped me have a job, a career growth, an ambition to achieve more, attain my dreams of swimming, or the art, baking, dance, song, guitar, crochet classes that I found out through social media networking. I was in a quest to look out for next steps to develop in my art of networking when Toastmaster Viljo randomly sent me an online book, Never Eat Alone. He didn't know that my project was something about networking. I was surprised to see the divine coincidence that it was a book on networking. I eagerly listened to the TED Talks and interviews with the author, Kate Ferrazzi. I went through several research and statistics that says that 90% of people have been successful through the art of networking. I wrote down all the strategies. I noted it down from the book. I noted the strategies that will help us all in this art. Number 1, write down goals in your life and have a relationship action plan. Who are the people who can help me attain my goals? Who can introduce me to that network of friends? Who are the individuals who will teach me stuff to get there? To build up relationships, be yourself. Be honest about yourself. Take the time and effort to wish people on their birthdays, to offer condolences in times of grief. To summarize, get involved in your community, go to social events, compliment people, ask questions, find common interest, use social media, take a mental note of who you meet, follow up after the meetings, and make yourself a resource for other people. Dear Toastmasters, So those were my life stories on networking and the strategies which should be our next steps on path to success. It's time for you to decide. If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go with others. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Wow, so many takeaways from one speech. That was indeed fantastic, Toastmaster Anjana.
Good evening to my target speaker. Let's give one more round of applause to Toastmaster Anjana for delivering the gem of his speech tonight. Toastmaster Anjana emphasized and reiterated on the art of networking, and she made sure that the speech is carried over to the audience through her art of speaking. She has shown drastic improvements over her last few speeches, proving herself to be one of the finest speakers of the club. Kudos to you for that. The speech is very well crafted with a good start, a wonderful body, and a very good conclusion. And Toastmaster Anjana started off the speech with an African proverb which says, if you want to walk fast, walk alone. But if you want to walk far, walk along with others. I hope I said the wordings right. That, me as an audience, made me very much hooked because I started to expect that the speech is going to be one hell of a speech, a great speech. Throughout the speech, you emphasized on your personal experience. You know that some of the best speeches are when you emphasize on your personal experience rather than being academic in nature. I have been to a couple of speeches on networking where like the speakers were very much academic. They went to all the facts and figures and graphs and all. But you have made such a great speech full of good, rich content and made sure that the audience understands every word of it. Hats off to you for that. Throughout the speech, as I mentioned, you emphasized on your personal experiences. You emphasized on how your connections made you to get jobs in schools. It helped you to change jobs through your connections. You also mentioned about one of your friend who connected you to a friend who introduced you to a swimming class. So all this is, yes, these are the wonders of networking, which normally people overlook. When your speech was progressing, I was continuously thinking, yes, you are right, because many a time we are always part of networking organizations, but we do not take advantage of it. We just live on through it. We do not take an advantage, be it Toastmasters or clubs or be it be our church gatherings or anything like that. Once we focus on the art of networking, yes, the gains are immense. And that's what you have shown through your speech. Crafted with excellence. Towards the end, you even mentioned about Keith Ferrazzi, put in a wonderful quote, and about his book, Never Eat Alone. So when I gave that book, I did not know that you're going to make a wonderful speech out of it. And I myself have not read that book. And when I Googled it, I came to know that it's one of the best books on networking. So I felt happy to know that, you did a great speech based on the book. Now, as much as the speech was great, a little bit of recommendations which would make the speech even better, give you much more improvements as you move forward. One was your tempo. So initially, when your tempo was good, the pacing was quite good. You had a lot of meaningful pauses. But towards the end, as the green light shone, I could see you hurrying up a little. The tempo, you started speeding up. When you started speeding up, your pauses were gone. And you were saying sentence after sentence after sentence with no pause at all. Second one was your tone. You had a fair, good tone towards the start of the speech, but towards the end, it's connected to the first point. When you started speeding up, the tone started getting monotonous. So I believe that you need to practice more with timing rather than just practice. That will help you to improve on these two factors. But otherwise, these are just recommendations. The speech was a great speech. And I was just confused whether I should evaluate or should I note the points, because these are going to help me as well. So kudos to you for such a wonderful speech. And I'm going to look for further speeches of yours. Thank you, and back to the Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Viljo, for wonderful evaluation, very positive and motivational one. Give a good round of applause to Toastmaster.
Okay, now coming back to table topics. It's a great session to practice your overcoming of fear. Now, just don't think about what others would think of you and give it your best effort. And for conducting this session, we have Toastmaster Jared Matthew. Someone whose voice can wake you up instantly if you feel bored in a Toastmaster meeting. I feel he's someone who looks nothing like a chartered accountant. I don't know. It's just what I feel, okay? Now, for him, it's normal to eat rice for breakfast. He used to take meals as breakfast when he was in school. It's something which I can relate to as well. When I was in school, if my mom was lazy enough, she would give us rice like 7:30 in the morning. It was nice, but it's not something I can cope up with every day. So now, without any further ado, I invite Toastmaster Jarin to conduct the table topic session.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day, Rajat Santosh, for the wonderful introduction. And thank you, Toastmaster Anjana, for the beautiful explanation. Well, that really sums up that it was really not normal, but I had to endure that through my childhood. So, having said that, getting on to the table topic session. Now, how many of you have heard about a TV show called as Simpsons? It's not aired in India, but it's there in the US and everywhere. It's quite popular. How many of you have heard about Simpsons? Well, if you have not heard, you must definitely have seen its characters some way or the other, because it's a show that has been running for over 30, 40 years right now. If I'm not wrong, it's as old as me. So, the thing with Simpsons is that Simpsons predicted about Donald Trump becoming the president way back in 2001. They also predicted the destruction of World Trade Center and many other events in advance. You can search on the internet and you will be flabbergasted, to say the least, how well Simpsons was able to predict the future. So, when things panned out as it was shown in the series, it became viral all over the internet. And Simpsons became famous outside the US for that very reason, that it was able to predict a lot of future events, world events. So now, today, I am going to give you lot that opportunity to predict the future, or how the future is going to look like maybe 20, 30, 50 years from today. If scientists find a way to increase our life expectancy to well over 100 years, do you think that would be a good idea? In future, if scientists find a way to increase our life expectancy to over 100 years, do you think that would be a good idea? Can I have Anjana, the speaker for today, to give one more speech?
Life expectancy of 100 years would be really nice if you're healthy enough to enjoy your life. You could explore any of your desires and hobbies in the time that you have. You can explore all the countries that you want to go to. But all of this depends on the energy and the health that you have. So it's perfectly okay if somebody finds out a medicine, or the scientists find out a way in which you can live for 100 years. Make sure that all the people who you have around us, your best friends, your besties, your family, your parents are all there with you for 100 years. But then I believe if you are living 100 years, they should be living more than that, right? To be with us always, they should be living 150 years maybe. If that is the case, if you are having no other feelings of depression and sadness in your people going away, dying off, and if it's like an eternal life, it would be really much more a happier one. Considering the fact that you are provided with a lot of money, if you could give terms and conditions, that would be best. 100% health and money and success in life, and then given 100 life, nobody will say a no, I guess. Other than that, if you are suffering, if you're not having money, if you are being one of the poor persons or the beggars that you see around you, then do you think that they will want to live 100 years? So it is a question that really depends on what you have in hand, what you are capable of to explore and roam around and so on. Then as I told about the dreams and passions that we have, maybe the time that we have right now is not enough to do all that. to finish off all the books that we want to read, the movies that we want to finish off doing. So maybe till 60 years, okay, we have for sure, we know till 60, 70 years, I'm going to do my work. And after that, again, I'm having 30 more years. I'm going to live till 100. I'll do all of that in the remaining 30 years and then go on happily from my life on earth. Over to you, table topic master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Anjana. That was again wonderfully attempted. But then again, I feel that if you have 100, 150 years to live, we'll need to colonize one more planet to find space for everyone out there.
Jay ma'am told we'll have Jupiter and Mars for that.
Yeah, of course. we'll need to do tours to Jupiter and Mars also.
Yeah.